What's up, YouTube? Hobo Nichol BBQ back with you again. We're in the hot seat, and today we've got Jason from GQue BBQ. What's up, Jason?
What's up, Chris? What's up, everybody? Thanks so much for having me on.
All right, real quick, I'll go through the chat. We got Keith Bettag, Christie's Cooking Channel, Barlow Barbecue, Mr. Mega Fred Zeppelin, Robert Roy, yourself, Daddy Dutch Barbecue and Cooking, Dan from Smoky Goodness, and Scott from In for the Grill. And I'm not scrolling up any further, but I'd like to quickly give a shout out to Kathy Sullivan, which is Scott's mom, who is visiting him right now and allegedly watching and loves the show. And I just want to say hi, Scott's mom.
Hi,
all right,
Mom.
Let's get into this. Where are you from?
That was a lot of foam in that beer. So I live in Denver, Colorado. I am originally from St. Louis, Missouri, and I spent some time out in the Bay Area. I lived in San Ramon, California for a little over a year.
Cool. All right, for anybody that's new that's watching, if you got a question to ask Jason, put it in the chat. I will write it down and work it into the show. All right, family, wife, kids, dog, chinchilla?
All of the above with the exception of the chinchilla. Got a wife I've been married to for 10 years. I've got 4 kids, 3 girls, Tori, Polly, Jenna, and then a son named Jack, and I've got a Labrador Henry right now.
Cool. All right, so what's your real job for those that don't know?
My real job. Right now I own a barbecue restaurant, so that's my real job. So I'm part-time therapist, part-time dishwasher, part-time barbecue cook, part-time customer service rep. You name it, I do it.
So you got anything in the works after this barbecue place by chance?
Retirement. Yeah, no, we got, as you know, Chris, we've got another barbecue restaurant coming. We signed a lease back in, I think, January or February for GQue number 2. It's going to be opening up down in Lone Tree, Colorado, in Colorado's largest mall, Park Meadows. And then I'm also super excited. We'll make the world announcement right here, but I'm also super excited to announce we'll be launching an ice cream shop too. So we've got 4,000 square feet. We're going to put GQue in 3,000. And we're going to put the ice cream farm in the 1,000 square feet right next to it. We're going to make homemade ice cream on the spot.
Awesome. So for those that don't know, me and Jason have been having this conversation since somewhere in November about having him on. And he kept telling me, wait till I get the lease signed, wait till I get everything lined up. And then I think it was about a month ago, he sent me a message and said, I'm ready.
Yeah, I had a bunch of other stuff too. I haven't really put a whole lot out there, but my mom had cancer. And so I was in St. Louis for probably about 3 months. Well, for about 3 months, I was in cancer for about 80% of my time. So that put a big halt on doing a lot of different stuff. And then unfortunately, she passed away just a couple of days before Mother's Day. So now I'm kind of back into the swing of that's, I mean, for the people that actually watch my channel consistently, I had about a 3-month absence and I was pretty much in St. Louis most of the time. So now that I'm back here, I can concentrate on doing stuff that revolves back around the business stuff and family stuff.
I'm sorry to hear that. I went through that almost same situation a couple of years ago, so I feel your pain, and I can't tell you it gets better, but it just the longer it goes, it gets somewhat easier.
It's awful. I was a mama's boy and very close to my mom, so I mean, I had chest pain for 3 months, and I actually thought I was having a heart attack at one point. I mean, it's been a rough time, but we're onward and forward, and got to get on with life.
Right. All right. So I seen Mr. Mega Fred Zeppelin wants to know if you're a Broncos fan, and he says go 49ers.
Go 49ers. Well, I lived out in the Bay Area. So, I mean, I went to some Oakland Raiders games. I liked the 49ers as a kid. I just saw Dwight Clark passed away about a month ago. That was really sad. I mean, who can not remember his catch if you're around my age, which I'm 42. So most people my age are all familiar with the 49ers, Joe Montana, Jerry Rice. I mean, I watched a lot of great 49ers games. But my team, I have adopted the 49ers. Being from St. Louis, the Arizona Cardinals used to be the St. Louis Cardinals, for all you youngins out there. They moved away when I was in 7th or 8th grade, so I was didn't really have a team for a while. Then the Los Angeles Rams moved out to St. Louis. They were awful. I went to college. They got good, came back. They had the greatest show on turf for a couple years, and then I moved away. So I never really had a close connection with the Rams. Uh-oh. It's okay, boy. But the Broncos are now my team, so I love the Broncos.
So something me and you were talking about before the show about some of the catering you've done. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, I mean, speaking of Broncos, I mean, you take food to the Bronco players. I mean, you'll even see some of them have even put me in their Instagram feeds with our food. The Rockies, we cater for the Rockies every couple of games. Or I probably shouldn't say that. Every 6 or 7 games, we cater for the Rockies. CU, we do a lot of stuff with the football program up there. We feed the coaches during the season once a week. So we try to be pretty active. I'm a huge sports fan, so we try to get pretty active with the sports teams. I'm super excited right now. Me and Hobo Nichol were watching the draft before we came on, and the Nuggets drafted Michael Porter Jr. So University of Missouri is my them and CU are my 2 favorite schools to follow. And Michael Porter Jr. is a graduate of University of Missouri. So I'm really excited for him to play for the Nuggets and to be able to watch him play a lot. However, he's a vegan. I don't know how much barbecue I'll be able to serve him.
All right, so Roundhouse Ranch Barbecue is asking what inspired you to create the rub. But before we do that, all right, so before the show, I told Jason I wanted to give away 5 bottles of rub. And then like every guy does on the show, they go, no, you're not going to do that. I'm going to do that. And then he sent me a message on Monday and said that. And I said, okay. And I didn't respond to him. So now he's not going to be able to back out of this. So he's going to give away 5 bottles of rub. I'm going to give away 5 bottles of rub. We're going to do it this way. We're going to give away 5 while the show's going on. And then we're going to do like I typically do. And people that leave a comment after the show, we'll do the comment generator and we'll draw 5 names that way.
So, Chris, we're giving away 10 bottles of rub. Is that right?
10.
10. Wow.
5 times 2.
Okay.
My math is right, and I've got all my fingers.
That's everybody in the chat room right now gets a bottle of rub. Let's just call it at that.
Something like that. All right, so here's what we're going to do. The first person that shows up on my screen that types the number 5 is the first winner. This is taking significantly longer than expected.
5 knives.
Okay, Double J Barbecue, you get the first one. I got to keep track of this.
There it is.
We're going to do this throughout the rest of the show. All right. So what made you decide to start a YouTube channel?
So we talked about family a little bit. We talked about kids. I found myself getting all of this footage of my kids and family and all that. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to do with it. And so I thought, oh, wow, this would really be really cool if I learned how to make videos. So then we can just look back and say, oh, this is our trip to St. Louis, or this is our trip to Colorado Springs. So I taught myself how to edit video to create these little family videos. And then I just started thinking, damn, I really enjoy cooking and I really enjoy teaching, and I teach barbecue classes. I've been doing that for a long time. Why don't I share teaching barbecue with different people and start a YouTube channel? And I've always been watching barbecue YouTube videos, and I always thought, oh, man, that'd be a lot of fun to do that. And so then after I learned how to edit, then it was just a natural progression into making barbecue videos. And I never at all, when I first started making the barbecue videos, I never at all expected to be, where I am right now with a restaurant and with, it's weird. We could talk about this later. We can just talk about YouTube and how it works and stuff like that too. My YouTube channel has done really well over the last 3 months when I haven't been on it at all, which I thought is very interesting because that flies in the face of everything I study about trying to learn the algorithm and how to take advantage of it so that it recommends your videos to other viewers. I haven't done jack squat, and I haven't had time to watch other people's videos, comment, upload videos. And during that time, I've gone from averaging, I don't know, probably about 700-800 subscribers a month to about 2,300 to 2,500 a month. And I've had just a unperforming channel. So I think that's pretty interesting too. But what's my point here? What were we talking about before we got off to that sidetrack?
I don't know, because you got me into the wormhole with you, because my next question. The next question is going to be: have you looked at your analytics and found that there's one video that's, you know, significantly crushing it?
I've got two right now, 2 videos that have just taken off. But then I've got like three or 4 other ones that are way better than they've ever done before. So it's really interesting.
I think we talked about I asked you how long ago you started the channel, and then you started talking about I didn't think that the restaurant and this would be taken off as well as it was.
Yeah, I was just making the videos just to have fun, and I was trying to actually incorporate my kids in the videos so we would have a good time about that. But then that became a pain in the butt trying to like get them to, you know, like participate. And so, yeah, it's just been, it was just totally for fun. And now it's, now I take it pretty seriously. I try to do like really good videos that are informative. I want to try to have guests on. So if anybody's driving through Denver and wants to be on, I'd love to have them in videos. But now I just want to try to take it somewhat seriously. And I when I first started out on YouTube, I'll never forget, I put a couple of videos out there and I just got crushed. I mean, a lot of people made fun of me. It was well, no, that was actually the meatball video where a lot of people were dogging on me. But the first one I did was this bratwurst one. And I thought, okay, I'm going to do this till we get 1,000 subs, and we'll just see what happens there. And then, of course, as you watch your channel grow, you kind of get the bug, and it's fun. You get to meet a lot of people, you start interacting with people, and then people. I mean, I remember I was in Qdoba. I was probably 6 or 7 months in, and somebody came up to me and said they watched my YouTube videos, and I thought that was pretty cool. Here in Denver, another guy watched it. So just little things like that, just randomly, somebody just. Not a non-YouTube creator. Somebody randomly will pop you a little message and just picks you up. It gives you a lot of inspiration, a lot of motivation because you know your content is actually making a difference for people. They're enjoying consuming it. They're learning how to cook better barbecue, and that really inspires me to want to create more. And now it's a lot of fun because I'll put a video out there, and I can pretty much bank on quite a few of those messages, relatively speaking, coming back in, and I really enjoy talking back and forth with other barbecue guys out there.
Awesome. So to hit on that, I actually have to take about a 3-month break, and this may be the last video on the channel outside of the giveaway for a while just for work, and I've got some other things going on, but I'm actually calling this the last hot seat. I don't know for sure that this is the ever last hot seat, but I don't know what's going to transpire over the next 3 months.
Well, Chris, don't be surprised if your channel triples in size or doubles in size. In fact, I was talking with Baby Back Maniac about this probably a while ago, maybe about 4 months ago or whatever, and he made that observation first to me. And he said, hey, he was talking about another person's channel, and he noticed how it's been dormant for a while and how it's just completely taken off. And I just was like, there's no way that's YouTube would reward you for something like that. And then lo and behold, you know, not willingly, but I had to take about 3 months off, and the channel is just, I mean, I've doubled in subscribers in 3 months, which is crazy, not having any uploaded new content at all, which is just asinine to me. But
I wish I was saying I was doing this as a strategy, but it's a real life scenario, kind of like you were in.
So if anybody's looking for a way to shake up their channel, just take 3 months off and you'll double too.
Aaron Wilson wants to know if you've met Martin True Jr. I'm probably butchering that name.
Martin True Jr. Is he from Denver? Oh, here it is. I see it. Yeah, I don't know. Martin True Jr. Maybe by face. I don't know. Doesn't ring a bell, the name.
Aaron, clarify that question. We'll swing back around to it. So what do you use to record your videos?
So right now, time is my most precious resource, and I'm lucky enough right now that I can actually hire a camera guy to come in and shoot my videos. And so I have a guy that I hire, a local guy that I've met that loves doing all this kind of stuff. So he comes in. I think he shoots on a Canon DSLR, but I'm not positive what exactly he shoots on. When I did him, I shot on a GoPro. And I shot on an iPhone, and you can tell. You can go and you can look at all of our videos. I think we've got 85 videos or so now, and about 12 or 13 of them are media, and the rest are all cooking videos. And all the ones that I've done at my house are ones that I've shot, produced, edited, and those are all done on a GoPro or an iPhone. And the ones in the restaurant are done with the guy who films for me.
I think Keith Bettag was saying Martin is a NASCAR driver.
Oh, yes, he's here right now. You know what's funny? I saw that. I'm like, I wonder if that's who that is or not. But yeah, he's out in Denver right now. We were at the Rockies game last night, and his car is at Coors Field. And that's exactly what I first thought of when you said that. But I'm like, there's no way that's who that is. And sure enough, that's exactly who it was. I'm trying to think who his big sponsor is because I remember seeing it on the car. But no, I have not met him, but I saw his car at Coors Field last night.
Aaron's saying it's Denver Mattress.
Oh, really? That surprises me.
Which I see Lyle's in the chat, and he probably is about – it's getting late for Lyle, so he's probably needing that Denver Mattress. Literally in the chat, it's past your bedtime, homies, what Mike's telling him.
Oh, that's funny. So Lyle, are you still – Lyle's out there. I think we're doing a video together on July 11th. I think I don't know if I'm supposed to be saying that, if that's private or what, but we're doing a collab live video July 11th with some other people.
Cool. Are you guys allowed to tell me what it's about, or?
I don't know. That's the thing is I guess we can. Lyle, can we talk about it? I would assume so, but I never know. There's a couple of people in it. I don't know if people like to keep it a secret or what, but yeah.
We'll come back to it. All right. Cookers that you have. Let's do this two ways. Privately at home cookers you have, and what do you use at the restaurant?
So at the restaurant, we've got 2 Old Hickories, and then we bring a third in when we got to do big catering jobs. We've got an SSE and an EL-EDX, and we bring in a third EL-EDX when we've got big jobs to do. At the house here, I've got a Big Green Egg. I've got a PK 360. At the restaurant, I also have a Weber kettle, and I've got a Gateway drum that I use for our videos. I get a lot of cookers that kind of like come and go too. Had some different pellet grills that I get them, and I kind of give them away, give them to some cooks at the restaurant and stuff. But those, 5 or 6, and I've got a gasser that I never use, but I've got a gasser out there also too. And that's pretty much what I have right now.
Cool. All right, I'm going to go real deep into this restaurant world later on in the show.
Yes. Dig in, baby. Dig in.
Giveaway number 2 for Bottle Jason's Rub. Who is the first person ever on the hot seat? First person type it in on my chat gets a bottle.
Oh, man, I actually think I know this one, Chris. Am I allowed to enter?
No.
Shipping would be easy.
All right, so your question is, who taught you how to cook?
Oh, man, that's a great question. So I think I've piecemealed it from a lot of different people, but my earliest influences definitely come from my dad. I have very vivid memories as a kid being in the backyard, probably about 7 or 8 years old. My dad is, mind you, this is St. Louis. This is summertime. This is massive humidity, super hot. I see my dad back there. I'm visualizing it right now with a Weber kettle, with a little chimney, getting it going, using lighter fluid even to get it going. Cooking pork steaks, hot dogs, hamburgers. Now we didn't smoke, we didn't do a lot of the big proteins, but grilling those off, basting the beer with Natural Light or Busch Light beer, and then slathering a bunch of Mull's barbecue sauce on there. So that was my first kind of foray into barbecue, and just watching how much he enjoyed it and how much I enjoyed eating his food, and just being around there and just being outside for a couple hours, just hanging out, enjoying each other's company, listening to the Cardinal baseball on the radio. That's really my first kind of influence in the barbecue. And then as I got older, I just ate it a lot. And there wasn't any internet back then, so I was probably 18, 19 years old. Email, I think, just kind of got popular. And then probably around 22, 23, internet kind of came about. But I was never surfing for barbecue. I was surfing for other things as a 22-year-old guy on the internet. It wasn't barbecue. And then I ate it all the time, really enjoyed it. And then I came out here to Colorado in search of great barbecue, stumbled across Kansas City Barbecue Society, became a judge. And then once I met those people that take it extremely serious, that's when I guess my passion for barbecue really took off. I met all kinds of other judges, and we just all enjoyed eating it and talking about it. And then I started really getting into cooking it. I've always cooked it, but much more as just a backyard guy. But then I started cooking it for competitions. And then once I started meeting other competition barbecue cooks, I mean, that's where, I mean, the learning curve just shot up. And I've got a variety of different influences there. But one of the guys that really kind of took me underneath his wing and I would say was a big influence in the competition world for me was Johnny Trigg. He would come out here and cook Colorado a lot. And I still have this vivid, awesome memory of Johnny Trigg and I spending July 4th together in New Mexico on a parking lot watching fireworks go off, talking barbecue. And if that does not scream Americana, I don't know what does. But he kind of taught me a lot of stuff, and in the competition world. And then in the restaurant world, I was able to apply a lot of those things. But I've had some pretty good just local restaurant people here in town that I've become really good friends with that have been really helpful. And then recently, over the last couple of months, Mike Emerson from Pappy's in St. Louis, I developed a really good relationship with him, and he's been really helpful as well too. But there's nothing I'm doing that I would ever say that I created or I invented. I mean, people before me have been doing all of this stuff for a long time. And there's nothing I would say like, oh, I'm responsible for this because I created that. I mean, unless you created, like barbecue, which I don't even know if there's one person that gets credit for that. I mean, very rarely can somebody say they created something. Although I think Johnny Trigg would get credit for the whole brown sugar honey butter on ribs. I don't know anybody else that can get credit for that, and I think that's pretty cool.
That's the only reason I own Tiger Sauce is because of him.
I remember watching season 1 before I knew Johnny of Barbecue Pitmasters and recording it and going back and trying to pause it right at the right moment so you can see everything they got in their trailers. Not just him, but all the other guys.
I don't even know that I like Tiger Sauce, honestly. It's just it became a thing where I'm like, well, I got to do it.
Oh, that's great.
All right, so real quick, Johnny Texas-style cuisine got that answer. The answer was Barlow. I seen somebody guessed Big Lou. Big Lou was number 2. That's really weird. That rhymed. All right. So what's one food you love that you don't make for yourself?
I'm in a Thai food kick right now. I love Thai food. I love sushi. I don't cook Thai food for myself. I don't cook sushi. I love tacos. I love cheeseburgers. Cheeseburgers are great food. But to answer your question, probably Thai food. There's an awesome Thai food restaurant right by my house, and it's probably my favorite Thai food restaurant that I've ever ate at. And I'm so fortunate to have them so close to me that I would eat there probably once a week if my family liked it as much as I do. But I love Asian food. Asian food's got so much flavor. I'm actually really getting into Indian food right now. Indian food I enjoy a lot also.
That's one thing I can't say that I've ever had was Indian food.
It's good if you like heat and just spices and just different flavors. I mean, it's just a unique just spectrum of different flavors, and it's newer for me. I've eaten Indian food for many years, but it's one of those things that I find myself craving, particularly. And this isn't Indian food, but it's from the same area. Is Nepalese food, Nepal. There's a really great restaurant right by me that I love going to, and my 10-year-old loves going to it also. So her and I go up there quite often and eat. And, it's good stuff. I love it.
I've got what's everybody tells me in Canton, Ohio is really good Indian food. 6 blocks from my house, for lack of better words. I just have never had the balls to step in and just say, hey.
Well, go in and try it. You'll love it. It's great. I think it's great. I shouldn't say that. I don't know what you're going to like at all, but it's fantastic. Tandoori chicken, clay pot chicken. They cook it in there. It's wonderful. The bread they cook on the inside of the tandoori oven. I mean, I think it's delicious. You like spinach?
Yeah. I like not cooked I like uncooked spinach.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Go try it, Chris. I think you'll enjoy it, but who knows? There's only one way to find out if you like it, and that's to go try it.
All right. What's a weekday meal look like at your house?
Weekdays, it's pretty quick. It's usually a couple vegetables and a meat. Sunday, I usually will go all out, make something really nice. And so Mondays is usually leftovers from Sunday. Tonight it was chicken, rice, and peas. I try to cook relatively healthy during the week, and Yeah, I mean it's pretty standard, basic, just white bread America, you know, like meat, couple veggies, and rice during the week, and then Sunday will be kind of a more elaborate meal, and then Fridays and Saturdays we usually go out as a family.
Right. Okay. All right. I actually enjoy this question with certain people. What's your favorite video you've made and why?
Favorite video? Let's see. I've had quite a few favorite videos. I can tell you what I'm enjoying right now is the kids will pull up YouTube and they watch YouTube on our TV, and they love to go back and watch old GQue videos. And I have one where we did a bacon weave, where we put the bacon weave on at the time, probably my 5-year-old's face, and she ran around like the bacon monster and chased the twins in it. And that's probably my favorite video because I love seeing the reaction out of the kids every single time they watch it. They get a big kick out of it. I love listening to them laugh. So I enjoy that video because of the reaction I get out of my kids when they watch it. And I kind of wish I did more videos with them because, you know, as we, you know, get older, it's really fun to go back and see them in the videos, and and they really enjoy that too. That's a lot of fun.
All right, real quick, Mr. Mega Fred Zeppelin, don't leave yet if you've not left, because I know you had one more question you wanted me to ask Jason. I just didn't get it worked in here. Fred wants to know favorite music bands, etc.
Oh, favorite music bands, etc. I like all variety of music. I like all different kinds. And anybody who follows me on Instagram, I just posted the other day that T-Swizzle, Taylor Swift, I just really like her new song, Delicate, and I knew I was going to get crushed by my following for that, and I asked them to gauge it, and they gauged it really well, like 8.5 out of 10, which is great. So I got a lot of little kids. They all love the pop music, so I like pop people. I know Mega Fred likes rock. I love like 80s music, so Motley Crue, Van Halen. I mean, that's what makes the hair on the back of my neck stick up. Going into the 90s, Beastie Boys. I was a huge Beastie Boys fan. And I just saw Mike D out in Napa. He played at Bottle Rock probably about 2 or 3 weeks ago. And I was really disappointed. I was pretty excited to see him. He was one of the 4 or 5 people I was excited to see most. And I was pretty disappointed with his performance. But I listen to all different types of music. I love it all. There's even country. I'm going to go see Kenny Chesney's coming to Denver here, I think, next Saturday. So I'll be going to that. I mean, there's not any particular type of music that I don't like. I love it all. I appreciate it all, and it's awesome. I love it all. Fred, does that answer your question? I don't know if that answers your question. I don't know if I gave you just one band, but probably one of the best concerts I ever saw was Motley Crue, and golly, I love them, and Van Halen are my two favorites from that era. And classic, I mean, I listen to a ton of classic rock. That's probably what I listen to more than anything else is classic rock. In fact, in the restaurant, we play classic rock 85% of the time. That's my favorite genre, and I'm not putting Motley Crue and Van Halen in that. I put them later on. I put them in kind of more that 80s rock.
Right. Fred says, "Great answer, Jason. Rock on." Fred, have a good night. I know you said you had a big day tomorrow. Get some rest, buddy. All right.
Lyle says ABBA. That's good. I can appreciate that.
I don't know that anybody can hate ABBA. If anybody doesn't like Dancing Queen, that's a hard song to hate.
Man, I remember college. That's like the song that brought the girls out to the dance floor, Dancing Queen, man. What is that? Mamma Mia is the play. So my oldest daughter is actually stepdaughter. The other 3 are not, and she was in plays, musicals, and I had the privilege of seeing a bunch of different musicals, and we seen Mamma Mia, and that's nothing but ABBA music. So Lyle, take your old gal out to see Mamma Mia when they come to town.
All right. Funniest thing that's happened while recording that we never saw after editing.
Funniest thing that's happened after recording that we never saw during the editing. I mean, it's silly. I've had so many mistakes, and I used to do bloopies on some of the earlier ones where I would take my 3 or 4 favorite bloopies and put them at the end of the video just because I enjoyed watching them when other people did that. But I mean, there's just I mean, you burn stuff. I mean, I think we've all been there. All the creators know you kind of, you know, and I don't have the luxury of practicing and trying different things. I'm like, okay, cool. Sunday afternoon, let's get all the ingredients. What do we got? Okay, maybe we need to make one quick trip to the store. Let's get all this stuff, come back. Let's shoot a video. And when I did it at the house, it was kind of chaotic. A lot of stuff moving around, kids running around, wife here, just weekend activities, stuff like that. The restaurant, there's, you know, requests, what's going on. I never really have a chance to where I can just focus on the cook, the camera, and just enjoying the process. There's usually always a distraction and things going on. So as a result of that, I don't think I've ever had just like a smooth cook from beginning to finish. There's always problems. There's things where you burn the bottom of the chop or the steak or the hamburger and you just show the good side. I mean, that happens probably like in a third of the videos that I shoot. There's a lot of like doctoring up of stuff to just make it look good when it gets to the final cut. But I don't think I've had one thing where I'm like, oh, wow, this is absolutely ridiculous. But I've had lots of little things that, you know, that I think all the creators experience.
I made chocolate chip cookies one day on my Weber kettle on the pizza stone. 3 of them, I only made 4 cookies. 3 of them were perfect. The 4th one was slightly burned on the bottom. That's the one I grabbed for the taste.
That's how it goes, right? That's how it goes.
All right, 3 channels you watch. 1 big, 1 small, and 1 you think should be much bigger than they currently are.
So 3 I watch, 1 big, 1 small, and 1 that I think should be much bigger. Well, I mean, this is tough because I watch a lot more than just 3 channels. So ones that come to my mind right off the top of my head that are big. I mean, Malcolm to me is just the king. I mean, Malcolm, he's cool. I've met him. He's a fun guy. He's planning on coming out, I think, to Denver to do a class later this year. I really admire him, and I think like that guy is just built for barbecue TV. I mean, he's perfect for that. I think Greg over at Ballistic, I think he does a great job. I love what Chef Tom does over at All Things Barbecue. Russ at Smoky Ribs, he's great. I mean, all those guys, and that's assuming you consider big. I mean, you got T-Roy. T-Roy's now at or right around 100,000. I love Roll with Pitmaster X. I mean, all those guys are over 100K. I mean, all those guys do such a good job, and it's no secret or no surprise why they're over 100K.
Right.
Medium channels that I watch. I mean, I watch a ton of medium channels. I mean, Chris over at Mothers, and I mean, we talk not regularly, but we talk every now and then. Like, what can we do to try to catch up to all those other guys? Baby Back Maniac, while he's probably considered a medium guy, I mean, it's only a matter of time before he's a big guy. His talent is he's an extremely talented editor, very good on camera, lots of charisma. I think he does a great job. I mean, David Parrish is extremely scientific when he does videos. I mean, I'm leaving out so many other guys that I watch in the medium channels, smaller channels that do a good job. I mean, we've all been there. Everybody has to start somewhere. Trying to think of ones. I mean, Michael, Everyday Barbecue. I mean, he seems like he's getting a lot of momentum. And by smaller channels, I think of guys probably like under 10K. I mean, Yabin, I think Yabin Postal does a great job with his channel and stuff. I like watching his content. But, I mean, there's probably a good – I mean, Lyle, I can't leave Lyle out. Lyle and I are the only Colorado guys. I'd consider him a medium-sized channel. Lyle and I have hung out before. I love talking to him. He's always funny in his stuff. But, I mean, there's probably a good 35, 40 channels that I watch. Sal was the very first guy that ever connected with me, Root Boy Cooks. So, I mean, I always have a soft spot for Sal. But, I mean, I love so many of these different channels, and it's hard because – there's so many new ones that come on that you watch a couple of videos and you're like, wow, I like this guy. I like what he's doing. I want to watch more to see if he can get better over the course of 6 months or a year. But then I get sucked into that dang YouTube's algorithm is really good, by the way. They start putting all these other videos over the side that catch my interest. I start watching some 18-year-old high school basketball player that can dunk a basketball like through his legs and behind his head. I'll end up watching 5 videos of that, and next thing I know, it's time to go to bed. And YouTube just zaps an hour, hour and a half of my time from me when it feels like it's 15 minutes. And I have so little of that free time right now. But there's so many great people out there, and I love YouTube, and I love watching them, and I love getting to know them all.
Right. All right, I'm going to throw this at you. Come up with a question or a way that somebody can win a bottle of the rub. You put it out there, and whoever you see first, just let me know has the right answer or whatever the scenario you come up with.
Okay. Wow, so many good questions. GQue, what does that mean? Why am I called GQue?
Huh. I'm probably not eligible to win either.
There's actually a story behind that. And we created that name about 10 years ago. So that was my competition barbecue name, and it just has stuck since then.
All right, while we're watching that chat for that, Kirby wants to know how the Elvis burger really was.
So one of my good friends, there's a restaurant here in Boulder, and they serve what's called the Jiffy Burger, and it's got peanut butter on it, and he swears by it. He says it's his favorite burger, and I've never had a burger with peanut butter on it. So I was like, let's make it. I did a search to see if anybody did it, and it looked like it was pretty wide open. So people made the Elvis sandwich, but I don't remember seeing a lot of Elvis burgers out there. I think there might have been one or two. So I was like, all right, let's go ahead and make an Elvis burger, and that's how we came about it. But I took it a step further and tried to make it the fat Elvis burger by putting a bunch of by caramelizing the bananas, by drizzling some honey over it. So we wanted to make Elvis proud. And make him something that we know the king would enjoy, especially during his later years.
All right, I don't know if you've seen. There's a couple. I don't know what the right answer is. So,
okay, what do we got? What are the first choices? And
I would say Everyday Barbecue's answer was the first answer in the chat.
Yes. So last name is what he says. That's right. So my last name is Gnall. So the G is for Gnall, and the Q is for barbecue. So it's Gnall Barbecue is what GQue stands for.
All right, Mike, I got you wrote down. I already got your address, so I won't need that. Everybody else so far, I think I have everybody's address. That's one already because they've previously won other giveaways. Might have to do some digging. All right, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go through the list of questions, then we're gonna jump into the restaurant side of it because I think it'll just be an easier, cleaner way to go. So I'm gonna just power through these. Christy's Cooking Channel wants to know what's the best and the worst thing you've ever cooked.
Oh gosh, the best and worst thing. I mean, I think my competition brisket is pretty damn good. I mean, every time I eat that, I think just my competition barbecue is really good. A lot of competition cooks don't like competition barbecue. They prefer something just a lot less sweet, just a lot less decadent. But I enjoy competition barbecue. I like it. And I try to judge still, even at least one contest a year. I love the competition flavor profile. So my favorite thing to probably eat that I make is my competition food: the chicken, the ribs, the pork, and the brisket, particularly burnt ends, particularly if I haven't had it in a while. The worst thing I ever make, like at this point, I mean, I don't think there is anything that I ever make that's the worst thing because it's all good because I'm making it the way I like it. But when I first started cooking, I don't know, 20 years or so ago, I'd burn up all kinds of stuff. I mean, I'm not professionally trained. I'm self-taught. I spent a ton of time on YouTube watching videos, a ton of time watching cooking shows. I was a huge nerd. What 25-year-old guys are hanging out 9 o'clock, 11 o'clock watching cooking shows? I mean, that's what I used to do because I just enjoyed food so much. So I used to burn up all kinds of stuff in my 20s, but now I think I would do a pretty good job of making it the way I like it or making it the way my family likes it.
Cool. I'm going to save this one for later. Let's skip to the next one. What's your guilty food pleasure?
Ice cream. I love ice cream. That's my favorite. Barbecue, meat, ice cream, beer, wine, whiskey, bourbon. I don't know if sushi's guilty, but I love sushi. Cheeseburgers. I love French fries. If I had to pick one thing to probably eat for the rest of my life, it'd probably be French fries. I love French fries. Cheeseburger and fries is probably my favorite go-to meal. If I'm having a bad day, if I'm having a good day, cheeseburger and fries.
All right, so I'm a big bourbon guy, so I'm going to ask you what's your favorite. I'll give you three, top three bourbons that you enjoy.
Yeah. I tell you what, you want to give me, 30 seconds to run upstairs? I got a bottle of 20 and a bottle of 23-year-old Pappy that I like to break out for guests that are bourbon aficionados just to try. Blanton's is my favorite everyday bourbon, but right now there's so many good bourbons out there. I mean, there's so many great bourbons that I think are fantastic. But I love when other bourbon people come over that I always like busting out the good stuff for them to try. Now, having said that, I will also say that its scarcity and its rarity is what I think is what makes it special. You used to be able to walk into a liquor store and pick up a bottle of 20-year-old Pappy until Anthony Bourdain made it so scarce and rare and awesome. And now they don't make like a whole bunch of them. Well, they can't, right? Because it takes so long to age and stuff. But Blanton's is my favorite every day. I call it every day for a lot of people. That's their Pappy 20. But I think it's reasonably priced. I can get it out here for about $65 a bottle, which I think is very fair considering how good it is. But I'm a huge, Gentleman Jack. I'll drink Gentleman Jack till the cows come home. Jim Beam even has a great single barrel. I mean, there's just, so many people are doing bourbon awesome right now that I think it's harder to find shitty bourbon than it is to find really good bourbon at a fair price.
Yeah, I actually am drinking a Weller right now, which
it's great. It's fantastic.
It's funny because so if you go take the tour at Buffalo Trace, the guy, there's one guy is an older guy that the way he's explained it to me and things I've read on, I'm sure you've been on different bourbon forums, is Pappy got real popular. Nobody could get Pappy. So then it became, what's the next best thing? Well, the best Weller is what Pappy is. So then Weller started to run out, except for in Texas, because Texas has always had the largest allocation of Weller historically. Well, then once Weller got hard to find, then it became Eagle Rare is the next Buffalo Trace bourbon. And then it got to the point where regular Buffalo Trace was selling out.
Yeah, and Buffalo Trace is great. We carry it in a restaurant. We have such a hard time here in Colorado getting restaurant bourbon. But that whole Buffalo Trace antique collection, anything in that family is so rare, and people appreciate it. But it's just, there's so many great bourbons out there.
Right. Okay, so who would be on your personal Mount Rushmore?
Personal, for a variety of different reasons. Well, right now, I got to go. My mom. My mom would go right up there. It's been a tough year, so she's tugging on my heart right now. My mom's dad, my grandpa, he's in the hospital right now. He would go right up there. My grandma and grandpa lived right across the street from me as a kid, and my parents still live in the same house. My grandparents still live in the same house, so I'd put my grandpa up there also. My wife, I'd put my wife up there also. I'm very proud of her, and I think she's an excellent wife and an excellent mom. And then probably the last one, I'd put my dad up there. So I'd put my mom and my dad and my grandpa and my wife. And now I know I'm going to have some people angry at me for leaving them out there. But those would be the four people I would put up there.
Well, arguably, you got that one little spot on the left side that another face could get put up, but I'm not.
Oh, that's great. That's all. I put my manager, Nick, up there then.
There you go, Nick. Tell him you need a raise because he just put you on Mount Rushmore. All right. So if you could cook with one person from any time period, who would it be?
So if I could cook with any one person, not who I have cooked with or who I'm already alive with and could have the potential to cook with. So I'm just thinking of some people who cooked probably before me, and the name that pops up first of all is the person I think that made cooking popular, and Julia Child. I remember as a kid watching Julia Child cooking videos and stuff, and her I think that would be a lot of fun to be able to share a kitchen with Julia Child.
I think most of that sound came from the bourbon she was drinking. All right, 2 more questions, and then we're going to get into the restaurant business. If Hollywood decided to make a movie about your YouTube channel, what actor would you like to portray you in the movie?
That's an easy one. I got to go with the Missouri kid, Springfield, Missouri, hometown hero, Brad Pitt. That's who I want to portray me.
All right, and last easy softball question before we get into business. What's one thing that most people don't know about you?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of things I could say. So when you play these games, you play. We went to a house party, and it was a lot of parents from kids in kindergarten. It was kind of a get to know you. So they played like the 3 lies and 1 truth game, right? And so I'm trying to think of the 3 lies and 1 truth from that night, but I know one was I was once a nationally ranked racquetball player. I was once not once, I still am in the Bowling Hall of Fame, which sounds a lot cooler than what it really is. Those are 2 kind of interesting facts that I don't think a lot of people would have ever kind of thought.
All right, explain to me the Bowling Hall of Fame thing. I can't not ask that question. Right. What does it take to get into the Bowling Hall of Fame?
Not much at all. So I grew up right behind a bowling alley. So I hung out in a bowling alley all the time as a kid, and I got to know everybody up there really well, so they'd always let me bowl for free. So I got really good at bowling as a kid, and I was actually invited. I can't remember the details around this, but 1988, the Summer Olympics were in Seoul, Korea. I don't know if they were considering putting bowling in the Olympics. I don't even know if bowling is even in the Olympics right now. But I remember like getting a letter even to not try out, or there was something. I don't remember all the details about it, but something about possibly going, practicing, or trying out for that. And I was sponsored by Hammer for any bowlers that are out there. Hammer was a really popular bowling company, bowling ball manufacturer. In fact, them and I think Angle were like the 2 big ones of that era. And I used to go all over the place, out of cities, states, to do bowling contests. And all you have to do to get in the Bowling Hall of Fame is to bowl a sanctioned 300 game. And I think even now, if you can bowl a 800 series, they'll put you in the Bowling Hall of Fame. They just have a little computer over there that you can type in, and you can see all the sanctioned 300 games or 800 series. So I have 300 game, and I'm in the Bowling Hall of Fame. I hit my first one when I was 14 years old at Bowland over in Illinois. Nerd alert, nerd alert.
You lose subscribers. I'm sorry. I apologize.
I know. It's going down. Look at my real-time number. Ding, ding, ding. It's going down right now. Oh, that's funny.
All right. We got 2 more bottles to rub to give away on this show. Okay. Whoever hits 72. Type 72, you win. If you already won, don't type 72 because that's just being a dick. And for anybody that's showing up late, I see Russ Smoky Ribs has showed up. Big Back Maniac showed up. Ray Mac showed up. I probably missed some people here. AE, Paul's Q. We're giving away 5 rubs on the show, and Keith Bettag just got this one. And then we're going to do the thing where we do a random comment generator 5 times. And again, if you win on this, don't be a dick and leave a comment and try to get to. I'm just going to skip it because I can.
So are we transitioning into restaurant talk?
Yes.
I'm going to go ahead and grab a fresh brewski.
Have at it. I will dance or something.
I will say I saw you said Baby Back Maniac, and I'm sorry, you said Russ Jones Smoky Ribs and Ray Mac are in. Those 2 have the most memorable intro songs. Nothing gets me more excited to watch videos than listening to Russ Jones Smoky Ribs music.
Smoky Ribs.
And then Ray Mac's. I love Ray Mac's kind of just funk intro that gets you into the video as well too. Both of those are excellent intro songs.
Right. All right, so for everybody that showed up late, I got to take about the next 3 months off. So I don't know what's going to happen with this show. I don't know what's going to happen with this channel. It's a work thing, and we'll see what happens after that time. So I'm calling this the last hot seat. I don't know whether it will be or not. And that's pretty much it. Since Justin's here, him and I talked a couple months ago, and I think my channel may pivot if I decide to go the route what me and him talked about. So I think things will be a little bit different on my show after September 5th, something like that.
Chris, just take 3 months off to double your subscriber base.
Yes, and I will be at like 3,000 subscribers, etc. We're aiming for 4, so if you got friends, just tell them to hit me up.
There you go.
All right, so every guy that's got, most people who get into doing barbecue in their driveway have friends that tell them, oh my God, you need to open up a barbecue place. Most people go, not doing that. And, you know, like I've read on many forums, people that are getting stuff for free are going to say that. But if you ask them, will you pay $20 for this plate? They change their opinion. So let's talk about the beginnings of getting into this life, and I'll kind of leave it there, and then as we go, I'll kind of add some other stuff into it.
Yeah. So anybody that you invite over to the house and you feed them barbecue, especially when it's free, is going to tell you how good it is. So instantly, right off the bat, ignore all family and friends and neighbors and anybody that's eating your barbecue in your backyard. I also find people will never tell you the truth about your barbecue to your face. So if you go up and you ask people what their opinion is, depending on your relationship with them, they're probably usually always going to give you a positive answer. And I mean, owning a barbecue restaurant is 5% cooking good barbecue. I was lucky enough to kind of have judged professional barbecue contests for a long time and then competed in them. So I kind of already had an idea of what the flavor profile is that a majority of people like. But yeah, your friends and family. I mean, there's so many people out there nowadays that can cook good rack of ribs, good brisket. That's just, I mean, that is a sliver. That is a cherry in a cherry pie of what it entails to actually run a profitable barbecue restaurant.
So kind of talk about the process of, I'm going to do this, all the things that are entailed of getting the building, the lease, the equipment. I'm not going to put you in the corner of cost, but if you can kind of,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
I tell you whatever you want. Chris, I'll answer whatever you want to know. You tell me whatever you want to know. Whatever is bouncing around that little head of yours, I'm happy to share.
Well, just kind of, you know, Jason wakes up on Tuesday and says, I'm going to do this. I don't know if you were married at the time, et cetera, but I'm sure that conversation happened. And
it's a horrible idea. Opening a barbecue restaurant, opening a restaurant in general is an awful idea. And in fact, there's several people, there's 5 people I'm helping right now actually get one going. And I get probably an email, a phone call, or a text every 2 weeks saying, hey, I'm thinking about opening a barbecue restaurant. Will you help me, or can I ask you some questions and all that? And probably about 80% of those people I say, I don't think it's a good idea too. The people that if I know them, I think that I tell them it's possible, but just be prepared to work harder than you've ever worked in your life. And the old joke is, if you ever want to make $1 million in a restaurant business, is to start with 2. It's very, 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 very difficult and very hard. And depending on what city you live in, you can't. I almost walked away from it. We did the whole financial projections on it. And I mean, this is the 3rd business I've started. Prior to this, I had a medical device recruiting business. And prior to that, I had a printing business. And I'm a sales and marketing guy, classic entrepreneur kind of guy. And I did the numbers on it, and I forecasted 1.2 in sales, which is pretty strong considering where we were going to be. And at that, I was only making $65,000. And I was like, is this really worth it considering the amount of investment that I got to put into it and the time? Is it worth the risk involved in that? And I said, if we were only going to make $1.2 million, then it wouldn't be worth it. I knew I had to get the restaurant up to $2 million in sales for it to be worthwhile and stuff. So I mean, there's not a lot of money in Denver. Rents are very, very high, and Denver's kind of going through one of those those phases right now where the rents are kind of catching up to expensive places, yet the people aren't comfortable with paying the prices that it costs or justifies expensive rents to charge, if that makes sense. And so there's a lot of people that are price sensitive right now, whereas these landlords aren't. And people are running around out there signing leases. And I mean, restaurants are closing left and right out here in Denver, constantly closing. People sign a big lease and a restaurant closes. And to me, I'll never, I mean, the place we opened up, we did it on the cheap. We're in a strip mall. There's nothing fancy about it, but it's barbecue. So people will make that extra, they'll make that extra turn. They'll park a little further away. They'll walk that little extra bit to get really good barbecue. And there's good opportunities out there with all these places that are, you know, bellying up and stuff.
Right. I just seen T-Roy showed up a couple minutes ago. Just want to say hi to Troy, and seeing a lot of comments, people saying restaurant work is tough. I can't think of the guy's channel, but he's got a barbecue place, and he was kind of going through some things. It was about the third episode, and it was a couple months back, but he was talking about, he had this big stack of envelopes that was about yay wide. It looked like an entire, maybe 2 boxes of envelopes, which was, as he said, this is all the employees who've worked for me this year.
That breaks my heart.
Have you had those type of issues, or you got pretty consistent?
Not at all. We do such a great job, and this is what I spend. I spend most of my time on employee identification and then employee retention, and the third most of my time on digital media marketing. That's where a lot of my focus goes into. There's no bigger asset in any organization than the employees. So I'll never forget, like when we first opened up, I mean, I hired a bartender, an accountant, and a masseuse. And those are my 4 kind of key people, all at minimum wage. And I'm very proud to say 2 of those 3 people are still with me since day one. And they're making, well, one of them just does kind of events for us from time to time. And the other one's making probably twice as much as when we first started out. But we are really selective in who we hire right now. We want to make sure they're going to get along. We got about probably 32, maybe 33 employees, and they've got to be a team player. They got to be selfless. They got to think of others first. We practice what I call servant leadership, where you serve the people that are just one rung below you. So if I'm right here, I'm serving everybody right here. These 3 or 4 people serve all these people right here. And all we're doing is removing roadblocks or obstacles so people can do what they need to do. And we want to prevent pathways so people can kind of move up as well too. But we take, I mean, I take, my employees are the most precious things to me, and they're not at all, I treat them all like they're volunteers, not employees, because they could go work anywhere they want to work and they choose to work for us. And so I go out of my way to do whatever I can for them. And it's not at all, we do such a good job, I think, with employee retention. I think we've lost 1 person this year. We're going to lose a couple now that go away to college. But I tell them right now, they got to find their replacements. I try to hire a couple different kids from different schools, and they've got to go out and find their replacements based on what they know we're looking for, because they know our culture better than anybody else. But they also know the benefits of working for us. And we've got season tickets to the Rockies right behind home plate. We got season tickets to the Nuggets. That's the 3rd row right behind the visitors bench. I get those for the employees. They get to go to the games. Of course, I get to go to the Cardinal Rocky games. I get to go to the Cavs, Golden State Warriors, Boston Celtics. I get to go to those games. But that's all for the employees, for all their hard work. We try to pay well above like what the industry average is. But that's not a place that we started out at. Which started out as we were below, and then over time we were able to go up. But we try to keep labor as a % of sales, and as long as sales goes up, then that gives us a bigger pie to get back to the employees. But I like my freedom now. I mean, I've worked really hard to obtain my freedom, that I try to reward my employees with that instead of trying to line my pockets with extra dough.
So what's the difference in time invested from you from, say, the beginning to today? And what's that time frame look like?
Yeah, I mean, now it's great because now I'm not on the schedule per se at all. So I spend a majority of my time right now just growing the business outside of the 4 walls. One of my favorite things to do is to walk the floor. I love being on the floor during service. I love meeting our customers. I love hearing all the different stories they have to tell. So I try to get in there during the peak times And then the rest of my time is just spent, like making YouTube videos, trying to get good digital media shots, doing different things like that. That's going to help grow the business outside of the four walls of the restaurant. However, when we first opened, I even went and talked to my wife. I was like, listen, I don't know how long this is going to take. I don't know if it's going to be 3 months. I don't know if it's going to be 9 months. I don't know if it's going to be 6 months. I don't know if it's going to be a year and a half. But I've done a lot of research, talking to a lot of different people, and I'm just going to need time. I'm just going to need time to be able to get this going and to make it work. And I'm 100% certain that, well, I shouldn't say that because I wasn't 100% certain. I was very, very scared, like the night before we opened. But we'll eventually figure this out. And the first, like probably month, it was 6 in the morning to 9 at night with an hour of emails and computer time afterwards. And then I'm very proud that we were profitable since day one. And then as time went on, I was able to just hire people that could do it better than I can, which is really nice too. All these people that we hire, I mean, if we don't think they can do it, if I don't think they can do it better than I can, we're not even going to offer them a job to come in. But we're hiring people that have really good experience, that are chefs, that are not classically trained, but trained in culinary arts. I mean, I've never been trained in any of that kind of stuff. So my time commitment now is a lot less than what it was in the beginning. But even after we get done with this interview, I still am going to end up doing an hour's worth of work, before I go to bed online. And we're opening up a new restaurant. There's always stuff to do. I mean, there is the people who work really hard and put their heart and soul into it. They find a way to make things happen and get things done. And if I were to ever take my foot off the gas, I have zero doubt that there would be a correlation that the business would start suffering as I remove my foot. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So I see Kirby's Fish and Grill wants to know where he can apply, and somebody up earlier it was just the letters, so I don't think they're a YouTuber per se, asked the same question.
So where can they apply? Just pop me a message. Kirby, where do you live, man? Where do you live? No, we're always on the hunt for good people. They don't have to have any experience. We hire people and then we teach them. I mean, I told you earlier, I had a bartender, an accountant, a masseuse. I'm not looking for barbecue people. I'm looking for just team first, self-starters, good attitudes, and we'll teach them how to do everything else. People like to have fun. We like to think that people come to work to have fun. They don't come to work to actually like work and grind away, right? So we try to keep it fun and light and do a lot of fun stuff.
All right, so I'm gonna. This question got asked probably in the first 10 minutes of the show, and we did a giveaway and forgot to answer the question, which that's on me. But what kind of brought together the rub, the selling of the rub, etc.? And I'm going to make a drink while you answer it, but I'm going to be. I can still hear you.
Yeah. So, I mean, I've had a lot of time in competition barbecue and judging, so I think I kind of got a good feel for what that flavor profile is that people like. And the whole strategy with the rub is just a really good all-purpose rub that you can put on everything. And the philosophy behind it isn't to really satisfy everyone, because you can never make everyone happy. And if you look at like the different senses, I'm not going to really remember what it is, but you got salty, savory, sweet, umami. Now people are saying is a sense, but I know there's one other one. Try to do like 80% across the board on all those. That way you don't offend anybody. So somebody who might be a sweet person, if you don't have enough sugar in there, you're going to offend them if it's overly salty. And vice versa, if somebody's a salty person and you don't have enough salt in there, you're going to offend them. So and somebody who might like spice, you got to have a variety of different spices in there as well too. So I'm trying to go 80% across all of those different spectrums so that everybody will say, oh, wow, this is good. It might not be the best because it doesn't hit the one thing that they prefer out of that whole spectrum, but they're going to say this is very good. And as long as the entire rainbow says this is good to very good and none of them say excellent, then I know I'm not going to offend them, and it's something we can use every single day. And so the rub is what we use in the restaurant. It's the only rub we have, and we put it on it goes on all of our meats. It goes in several of our sides. And in the latest video that I'm about ready to put out, it even goes in sauces and stuff. I mean, I put it in everything. It's fantastic and so versatile. It goes in so many different things.
I just tipped the last part of my drink over into my phone.
Well, these phones now are waterproof, so you should be okay. Is it an old?
It's a Samsung 8 Plus or whatever the hell they call it. I don't know.
Put in some rice. Put in some minute rice. You'll be all right.
Throw it in the microwave. It'll charge also. All right. AE wants to know: does the rub contain MSG?
There's no MSG. No MSG. Gluten free.
Lewis at Our Shack Barbecue wants to know: is the second restaurant going to be the same style as the original?
In terms of what?
I literally read the question verbatim, so we got to freestyle that answer.
So originally the second restaurant was going to be a lot nicer. So restaurant 1, I just got that open on a shoestring budget. Restaurant 2, I had a little bit bigger of a budget to operate with, but real estate construction costs are outrageous right now in Denver. So we had a pretty decent budget to work with, and I had to pull all that stuff out once we got the bids back. And so that's what I've been spending the last month on. So restaurant 2 is going to be kind of similar to restaurant 1, maybe a little bit nicer, but not much. But we had a lot of really cool elements in there that I was really excited about that we had to pull all of it out because we couldn't afford it. In fact, I even had to pull the patio. We have a really beautiful patio design. It was so pretty. It had like plants and different like metal elements and really nice wood, but we had to scrap all of that to be able to get it under budget. And in fact, we scrapped that and a lot of those cool elements in there, and it's still over budget. But the show must go on, so we're gonna get it built and get it open.
All right, Lewis clarified and said same menu.
Yeah, same menu to get going. And probably about 2 months ago, we started doing weekly specials. So anybody that follows us on Facebook or on Instagram will see them. We've been posting the weekly specials, and that's been a lot of fun to come up with those and for our different cooks to create. So we're going to continue with the weekly specials and keep our current menu that we have up in Westminster. So who asked that? Does he come in?
No, he lives in. I should know this because he's been on the show. He's been on the show, but he's in Washington. I can't remember specifically where.
Cool.
He's a Seahawks fan. He asked me to give you hell about that also earlier in the show. I just couldn't work it in.
Oh, yeah, that's all right. It rains up there all the time. He's got to deal with all of that.
I seen Just Piddle and Barbecue showed up. Aim 'em, claim 'em, who just hit $10,000 or 10,000.
Pops, I love Pops. I love Pops videos. James and I talk a lot. In fact, James and Tom's Test Kitchen. We all did a barbecue crawl probably about 1.5 years ago. I love that guy, and I love Tom from Tom's Test Kitchen. I love both those guys. We had so much fun going around all those barbecue places in Lockhart, Texas.
Where's Tom been? I have not seen, I think, one video in recent time, for lack of better words.
He's got that wax crate that he's working on, and it very rarely, occasionally, we'll pop a message back and forth. But I know he's been working. I don't know how much time at all, but I know he created that wax crate vinyl album business. So maybe that's taking a bunch of his time.
All right, Russ wants to know who wrote the menu and the recipes, you only, or did you have help?
Well, the rub's mine. Sauces are what we used in competition barbecue. That's the meat. I mean, that's the meat and sauce right there. The sides are pretty simple. I mean, I kind of created all of those. The specials, I leave those to the staff. Allows them to be creative. I have some input in those, and of course, if there's anything we want to do, I do. But as far as like our basic menu, yeah, I came up with all that. But it's all fluid though, so we can move things in or out. If a customer wants something, if an employee really feels strongly about something, I'm willing to do it. I mean, I am not one of those very rigid kind of guys. If somebody has a really idea and they feel passionate about it and they feel like it'll work and they can convince me of that, then we'll throw it up there for a while and see how it does.
I'm trying to best or favorite barbecue side, AE wants to know.
Yeah, we did. So we just did Denver Barbecue Fest this weekend. I don't know if you guys saw, but it was an awesome event. It's going to happen next year also too, here in Denver, Colorado, Father's Day weekend. But it was us. It was Big Mo Cason. It was The Shed. It was Pappy's. There was another 4 or 5 peg leg porker. I know I'm forgetting some people. They all came here to Denver to cook, and we did a cornbread casserole, and that was absolutely fantastic. I couldn't stop eating it. It was essentially cornbread, but we put a bunch of corn in there, and it was fantastic. So that comes to my mind right away, and is a memorable side. But for barbecue, I like the traditional things too. Beans, I think of beans. I think of coleslaw. I think of maybe some type of like potato or corn kind of side, maybe particularly something that's creative. I know in KC they do a lot of cheesy corn, but that's what I think of when I think of like my favorite sides with barbecue.
All right, I'm going to come back to that just because there's a couple of questions in the chat. But James wants to know if you could cook with one pit master, who would it be?
If I could, I've cooked with a lot of really, really good ones. I've been really blessed to get to know a lot of the guys out on the competition trail. If I could just go and spend an afternoon in the kitchen of somebody, man, that is a really, really hard question. And it'd be so hard to pick just one person, but I know you want names. So I'll give you some names. I think Mike Johnson with Sugar Fire. I think he would be a really fun guy to cook with. He's somebody I look up to. He's in the process of scaling his business, and he's got a good creative flair. He does a lot of really cool creative stuff with barbecue, and I think he would be fun to spend a couple hours in the kitchen with.
All right, Jim E. wants to know, do you do catering also?
And we cater to the cows come home. That is where we make all of our money, is the catering business. I tell people that our restaurant is just a tasting facility for catering orders. Catering is what pays the bills for us. So yes, we cater. We're probably doing, I don't know, I didn't even look, but we've got 40 or 45 weddings this summer alone that we're catering. So we love catering.
So is it just the lack of, expound on the catering part of it? I don't know how to ask this question, but is it just the lack of having to have people service it that creates that monetary gain, or is it the ability to charge more, or what's the process?
It's how quick it can go out. So for instance, let's say it's a Thursday afternoon, we can have $3,000 worth of catering food go out by 11 o'clock. So I can have 3 guys back there cutting up big briskets, big whole pans of beans, slaw. I can have 3 people put together $3,000 worth of food, and out the door it goes in 30 to 45 minutes of their work. Or I could have 6 people serve for 4 hours on a Wednesday afternoon before we get to $3,000 in revenue. So catering, we can move much faster, thus making it much more profitable and having a whole lot of people come through buying $12 plates of barbecue, needing a whole bunch of people to make. And think of like the bandwidth too of a full menu versus catering, where they're ordering like, hey, give me 30 pounds of turkey, 30 pounds of pork, 30 pounds of brisket, and then a few gallons of this, a few gallons of that. We can bang that out really quick versus scoop of this, 6 ounces of that, toast the buns there. Okay, next one. Scoop there, cut that, slice that. It just takes a lot longer. So we're way more efficient when we cater than we have to go ticket by ticket in the restaurant.
All right, Jim wants follow-up question. Is your catering employees separate staff from your restaurant employees?
No, they are restaurant employees.
Right,
so they do it. So most of our lunchtime catering. So now like on the weekends where we got lots of catering, we just staff it more. So we'll have guys that'll come in on a Saturday. We'll have like 2 guys that'll come in on a Saturday, and their whole job is just to catering. Just do catering orders all day long. Just do catering. Your job is to make sure every single catering order goes out on time and it's ready to go at the proper time to either be delivered or to be picked up. So all of our catering staff is restaurant employees too.
All right, real quick, I'm going to do the last giveaway, and I don't know what your time frame that you need is. I don't want to keep you here any longer than whatever questions keep popping up, but if you can give me like, hey, dude, I need to get off here in 5 or 10 minutes at any point, let me know.
Chris, you paid me for an hour and a half, so you have me for 1.5 hours. Thank you, brother. Really nice of you.
All right.
I'm fine, Chris, I'm fine. I'm an open book. I love sharing. I love talking to everybody. So you use me for however long you want. I'm happy to do this. I'm doing great. I got a cold frosty here. I'm enjoying this. So as long as you want to roll, we can roll.
All right, I'm gonna keep asking questions as they come in, but the last giveaway, this is what I want. If somebody doesn't have a cooking channel, and I'm gonna look real quick, if you made microwave mac and cheese one time on YouTube, I'll give you that. But if you don't have a cooking channel, type in the thing, pick me, and you'll get the last bottle rub. Because honestly, and I think most YouTube creators feel this way. Everybody that's a YouTube creator in their genre typically supports each other, but at the end of the day, the people that are the guys that watch your video are the guys that are the regular guy named Joe that's sitting in Bettendorf, Iowa, watching videos. All right, we've already got a bunch. Christy says not fair. Christy, you can leave a comment after the show's over. I about made this guy a moderator. I'm gonna go check out his channel real quick. AE. All right. While I'm doing that,
Chris, I'm going to grab a beer real quick. I'll be right back.
have that. I'm gonna scroll up here real quick.
Are we giving 4 bottles away?
We've given 5 now, technically.
Okay.
The other 5 will be people leaving comments, whether they're watching it now and leave a comment after the show, or if they come across it tomorrow or the next day. I haven't figured out when I'm going to do this drawing. It might be Sunday, might be Monday. I'm going to wait till there's at least obviously 5 comments. Azrael's Pit Barbecue wants to know if you ever cook on site.
What does that mean? Like at the restaurant?
No, like it goes back to the catering. Like I decide I want you to cater, and I live an hour away from you.
If anybody wants to, we'll do whatever people are willing to pay us for. So we've delivered food 2, 3, 4 hours away. We'll bring pits down as long as they're willing to pay for it. We'll do whatever people want. Right. But what happens is once they find out the cost involved, they don't want to pay for it.
Right, let me hit this real quick. AE, send me an email at hobonichol@gmail.com with your real name, address, and stuff. You got the 5th bottle. So talk about that cost difference of doing it in the restaurant versus on site.
Yeah. So
roundabout numbers.
The good news is I know a lot of good barbecue guys here in Colorado and in Denver. So they've got pits. They can move their pits. I don't have pits that I can move for the rrestaurant. They're stuck in the restaurant. So what I'll do is I'll find them, see how much they want for their time and for their pit to go down there, and then we'll factor that into the bid. But what people don't realize is for us to show up and cook brisket on site, we're there for, it's probably a 24-hour gig. So if you want food at 7 o'clock at night for 75 people, we're probably getting there about 6 or 7 o'clock the night before to prep everything, to put everything on for it to cook 12 hours, then they'll allow it to rest, and then they'll allow it to cut it and serve it. And once they see the time that goes into that and the cost to pay those people to do that, they don't want it. They think it's going to be the same price as your menu. You can just show up and serve it. It shouldn't surprise me, but it surprises me how naive people are to the amount of time it takes to make awesome barbecue.
I've read on a lot of forums where guys will pre-cook the food, show up with the smoker rolling, kind of keep it preheated for lack of better words. But I think, you're getting what you're getting. It's a show more than like what you're talking about.
We don't do that. We don't do that. But I mean, there's sure we can get people to show up and just light a pit and put a bunch of stuff on there. But that's not when so many of those people are going to be having our food for the first time. We want to make sure we're serving fresh product. Right. You only get one chance to make a first impression.
All right. Lewis wants to know if you think that. Ask if you think appropriate. Well, I think everything's appropriate. Does he project a drop in sales at restaurant 1 once restaurant 2 opens? I don't know what the distance was there.
I hope not. I don't project a drop in sales. Absolutely not. Now, I would be foolish for me not to think that there could be some dilution. One of the things that I think makes our restaurant great is I can go in there every single day and do kind of some quality assurance. I can work hand in hand with the pitmasters. I can work hand in hand with the staff. Spreading that out over 2 stores, there definitely will be some dilution. But I think we're going to spend a lot of time up front training to make sure people are good, so that I don't need to be in there every single day to make sure it's good. And with the people I've got right now in Westminster, man, we have got such a great staff right there that if I wanted to take 3 weeks off, 4 weeks off, I am almost certain there would be no drop in quality with those guys, because they are so committed to being awesome every single day.
So did you transition some guys from the current restaurant to move to the second restaurant?
Just one. I've got just one, and that's the guy. That's that little one on the side of the Mount Rushmore. That's Nick. He's my manager. He's going to go down to the other one. I live close to the current one right now, so I can kind of keep an eye on it. But it's too far away. It's probably an hour door to door between the two. So that's too far away for people to go back and forth. And I learned a while ago that I don't want people driving more than 8 to 10 minutes, 15 minutes tops to get into work every day, because you get a little bit of snow and they got to drive 20, 25 minutes. They're not showing up. So I want people to live really close to our restaurant. I want people to be excited to come to work and excited to make people happy.
Awesome. All right. Russ wants to know, do you cook the meat in advance and reheat for the paid catering event? I know the local events do it that way. Never mind. You just answered the question.
Okay.
And I'm trying to get caught up on the chat.
That's a big no-no for me. I don't want to ever reheat. I don't want to ever reheat meat. That's just me. There's lots of people do it, and I've had reheated meat, and it's great. But I think that's how we differentiate ourselves. It's all same day. I call it pit to plate. It all goes from the pit to the plate.
All right. Real quick, James just asked a question, but if you guys, I'm caught up with the chat. So if you got anything, drop it in here. I'm not going to hold up Jason all night long till 2 a.m. unless you guys force him to. James wants to know your best advice to anyone looking to start their own barbecue joint.
Pops, listen, you just call me, bro. If you want to open up your own place, you just call me. We can talk about it. But it's funny because I'll get messages from, say, a guy in Vermont or a guy in Florida or wherever. I get these messages all the time. Hey, I'm thinking about opening my own place. What's the one piece of advice that you can give me? And I couldn't possibly give you just one thing. I mean, I learn every single day. It's been 2.5 years we've been into it, and I'm still learning things every single day. I mean, today I had a crash course. I learned a lot today in dealing with different things to try to get the second one going. And the thing that I guess I would say is just, unless you're 100% committed to making sure it's successful, if you're not willing to work harder than you ever worked before, if you're not willing to ensure that every single guest that comes through has the best experience they've ever had in terms of food and service, if you're not willing to make sure that your employees have a great, safe, fun place to work, if you're not willing to put all the money you've ever earned before on the line and be okay if you lost it all in a year or a year and a half, if you're not willing to do all those things, don't do it. As a mom and pop 1-unit shop, there is nothing working in your favor. You get no benefits from any of your vendors. They all treat you like crap. You are a gnat on the proverbial horse's ass, and the tail is trying to knock you off of it. Nobody gives a rip about you. It's so difficult to get customers to come in there because you're not a name or a brand you're familiar with. And now, granted, this is going to vary from city to city, from county to city. I think places in a metropolitan area, they're more willing to try a non-chain kind of place. But we're out in the suburbs, so they like to go with brands they're familiar with. They don't necessarily like to try these new places. We'll do an event. We live in the restaurant is in Westminster, and there's a town called Broomfield right next to it. And we'll do one of the food events in either Westminster or Broomfield. Taste of Broomfield, Taste of Westminster. 85% of these foodies that live in the town have never been into GQue before, or have never been there before, because it's just not what they know, or it's not what they're comfortable with. So there's so many things working against you, I think, right now as a mom and pop 1-unit shop, that unless you're willing to adapt and overcome all those things working against you, it's not going to work out. There's a reason why the restaurant failure rates are so great. And I would also say it's not worth doing it it's not worth risking all of that stuff and all of your time to make what you can make in your current job. If you've got a good job right now where you're making $50,000 a year and you can take a month off and you've got benefits and you've got all that stuff, unless you're willing to work to exceed all of that kind of stuff, it's just not worth it. Why do you want to leave your 40-hour-a-week job with benefits, with paid vacation, to go work your ass off, to work twice the amount of hours for the exact same amount of money without benefits? It's just not worth it. You got to make sure that you're going to be able to 3x that or 4x that. Otherwise, you're better off where you are right now.
All right. Troy says, come to Austin, make a video with him.
Love to do that, Troy. Brother Troy, you know, if I'm ever in Austin, I'm coming by. That would be awesome. I'd love to do that, brother. Hey, Troy, cheers to you.
All right. Meathead says, what do you do with your leftovers from the previous day?
We try not to have leftovers. So we've got a pretty good system right now where we can predict the amount of sales every single day. And so we've got 6 kind of core meats, and then we have some kind of ancillary stuff. And we start running at about 7 o'clock. We start running out of all those items. And by 8:30 or whenever we sell out of everything is when we're done. So, you know, we'll get 3, maybe 4. I mean, on the weekends, it's all gone, 3 or 4 meats gone. And we'll just reheat them the next day. And so all the people that I know really well, I say, don't come in till 11:30 or so. Then you know you're getting all the fresh stuff. But I'm not going to take, you know, if we've got like a USDA prime brisket that didn't get sold at the end of the night, I'm not going to throw that out. I used to take it all over to there's a tire shop right across the street. I used to take all those mechanics and all the guys our food the next day. Well, they started getting sick of barbecue after a couple of months. So then we started reheating it up, and I'm not going to throw it out, but we do a pretty good job of going through everything so that we've got nothing but fresh food every single day.
All right. Russ wants to know, how were you able to pull off so much exposure through your local news TV stations?
Well, who asked that? Rustin?
Yes.
All right, Russ, I'm happy to give away the secrets to you. If I don't answer this all the way right now, then you can call me or text me and I'll tell you all of that. But you just you find out who the producer of the show is that you want to go on, and then you pitch them. You tell them why they need to put you on the show. And Russ, you have a very easy sale, in my opinion. I mean, you can sell your experience on the YouTube channel. You can talk about your viewership. You can talk about how many people have watched your videos, and you can send them clips of your videos, and they will have you on. These producers of the shows, they're constantly looking for new ideas to put on their television programs. So I would think you would have no trouble getting. I don't know what your major market is down there. I don't know, but I mean, you're in Mississippi, right? So I don't know what your television market is, but you'll have no trouble getting on there with a proper pitch.
All right, real quick, I want to give what's up to BBQ for showing up, and White Thunder Barbecue.
What's up, Nate? Nate and I go way back. Nate and I have been texting for a long time, and he's an old school. I call him old. I mean, I know there's a group of guys like Ross, Chris, Greg, a lot of those guys I think of when I think of old school barbecue guys. But I think of Nate as one of those guys that have been in the trenches for, you know, since 3-4 years ago.
You know, it's funny how people on YouTube kind of group themselves into, like, myself and Barlow and Mike from Everyday Barbecue. We all kind of start at the same time, and we kind of bounce ideas off each other. And you get these little silos of, like, I know, like, T-Roy and Greg and other people. You kind of get into that. These guys are my guys.
Yes, no doubt. You think of those guys that kind of came in at the same time, and think of all those guys that have dropped off over the years too. But I always love those guys that kind of came in at the same time that are still out there producing content. Nate with White Thunder is one of those. We both kind of came in right around the same time. I think he came in maybe a little bit before I did. But it's nice to see those guys 3-4 years later. And I haven't met Nate yet. I've met a lot of these YouTube guys, but I haven't met Nate yet. But I know the second we meet, there's an instant bond there, and we've traded a lot of messages back and forth over the years too.
Right. So Daddy Dutch Barbecue and Cooking wants to know, how many grand championships have you won?
That would have been a good rub question, huh? So I've got 10 KCBS Grands, and I think I've got 11 KCBS Reserve Grands. Got several 180s, and are they called 700 pins? 700 pins also too. I competed for about about 4.5, 5 years. 2013 and 2014, we did. That was our best years. I mean, we were every 3 or 4 contests, we were winning a GC. I think pretty much like every other contest, we were getting a GC, RGC, or third overall. So we had a really good run in 2013, 2014. And I did my first SCA contest this year, and we were lucky enough to win that too. So I'll be doing the World Steak Championships, World Steak SCA Championships down in Dallas-Fort Worth later this year.
All right, so I'm going to do this. I think things are about wrapping up. If you got any last questions, ask them. I'm going to put a link to this chat. I don't know if Jason can hang on for 10 minutes after the show or so, but basically one thing we've been doing for probably the last 5 or 10 episodes is basically I will put a link to you can get in here. All you got to do is open a link up with Google Chrome or the Google Hangouts app, and we all just kind of hang out and bullshit afterwards. So I'll put that out here in a minute after I get through the last minute of chat. But if you got any last questions, start dropping them now because we're gonna do them. All right. The chat just took off like a madman. A wants to know the $1 million question: who has the best barbecue?
Where in America? Competition, restaurant? What are we talking here? That's so loaded.
I'll let you answer it with all of them.
Where's the question at? AE?
Yeah. Who has the best barbecue? But yeah, that's what he asked. Kirby, my drink's right here.
So the best restaurant brisket that I've ever had was at Utah, Bam Bam's restaurant, Cameron True's, called Bam Bam's Barbecue in Orem, Utah. I went up there and visited him probably about 3 weeks before I opened mine, and he served me some of his brisket, and I just thought it was absolutely delicious. I mean, that's so hard to say. That's the first thing that kind of popped up. I remember taking a bite of that, and for a restaurant, I was just like, wow. I mean, in competition, these guys were cooking Wagyu. We're cooking Snake River Farms brisket for competition. And they're cooked by guys that cook so many of these every single year that they're just so damn tasty. To expect a restaurant to be able to match that's pretty difficult. So once I started kind of switching the mindset from competition to restaurant, I went and visited a couple of different places, and Bam Bam's was one of them. And I was really blown away by his brisket. I thought that was pretty memorable. And I thought, wow, if we could ever get something similar to that, I'd be really happy. So that's one that really sticks out for me as far as restaurants. Is that it? I don't know if that answers the question. Or I'll tell you another thing that Parrot Head Smokers, he's a comp barbecue team, and it was probably my second or third competition ever, and he brought me over every single one of his meats to try. And I remember taking bites of those samples, just thinking like, holy crap, this is so good. And I had always, as a judge, I had eaten different entries from different competitors, but you don't have a face behind it. You don't know the person. You don't know the personality behind that. And so getting to cook right next to him at a competition for the weekend, and he's got 60, 70 grands over the course of his years competing. Getting to know him, like I got to know him that weekend, and then for him to personally serve me each of those and to talk about each of those different entries and stuff, that was really special, and the food was fantastic, and that's always been something that's been pretty memorable for me too.
All right, Meathead wants to know how many of each different meats do you go through on a daily basis, like cooking-wise quantity?
Yeah, it's a lot. Weekends are a lot more than Mondays and Tuesdays. And then the amount of catering that we have is a lot more. Like we have catering job. We'll have a catering job for 1,000 people, and then we'll have all the restaurant, and then we'll have other caterings for that day too. So there was just today we were talking about production for later this. Like there's a Saturday coming up here in July where we got to cook 50 briskets, I think 45 pork butts. We've got to get 4 gigantic industrial-sized smokers out there to be able to do that. So, we're cooking pretty massive volumes right now in the summertime at the restaurant.
Cool. Hey, thanks for sending me your email address. Daddy Dutch Barbecue and Cooking wants to know, do you still compete? If so, how often?
So the SCA got me back into it. It's the first time since we opened a restaurant. I tell people all the time that I compete every single day. For every single person that walks through that door, I want to be #1 with. So yes, I still compete. It's just not at professional barbecue contests. But we got back out there with those SCA steak cook-off contests, and we did our first one this year. So I'm competing in that. There is a key CBS barbecue contest in Westminster, Colorado later this year that I don't know if we'll be able to do that. It's during football season. And I love college football. College football I actually like a little bit better than pro football. So these turn-ins are all on Saturday, so I probably won't do that. But I know I say this every single year. I want to get out and do 3 or 4 contests. I love meeting the new teams. I love staying relevant. I love seeing all my old friends. My best friends I've met through competition barbecue and barbecue. So I love spending time with them. It's not the same sending messages over the internet as it is hanging out, drinking beers over a fire and stuff. So I'd love to get back out and compete. I just don't know when it is. But yes, I will eventually compete some more for sure.
All right, last question, and then I'll drop the link after I let Jason kind of ramble on to do the closing like we typically do. AE wants to know who has the best style of barbecue, Texas, Kansas, or Memphis?
Why do I only get to choose amongst those 3?
Well, I'll open it up since it's my show.
I'm
not going to let you say Denver, though.
There is no Denver style. I mean, there's no Denver style. It takes generations to create a style, and Denver doesn't have a style. I'm from St. Louis, so I've always been partial to Kansas City style. So I'm a huge Kansas City barbecue guy, although, my goodness, Texas brisket, I don't know if it gets better than that. It's so good. There's things I like about all the different styles. And if I have one particular thing one day, the next day I want something different. So what I appreciate more than anything else is all the variety that's in barbecue. How boring would it be if everybody cooked brisket the same way, or ribs the same way, or pork the same way? I love that there's so many different variations and everybody's putting their spin and twist on it, that it's all good to me, brother. I love it all.
All right, I just dropped the link into the chat. I've not hit the submit button. Jason, wrap this up. Say whatever you want to say. Promote whatever you want to promote. And after he gets done talking, I will hit the enter key, close this window out, and anybody that's got the Google Hangouts app that is on their phone, or whether they're using Google Chrome, open that link up. I think I can only hold 8 people on here, but the after the show is kind of a fun way of doing it and kind of getting to bullshit with people. So Jason, end us out.
Yeah. Chris, thank you so much for having me on. It was great spending some time with you. I hope we get to meet one day in person. And thanks for everybody for coming on. If anybody ever comes out to Denver, just come on in, say hi. I love meeting people from YouTube. I'm happy to sample out all kinds of food for you. I love meeting people that watch the videos. And I'm an open book. I mean, I'll be the first one to tell you. I mean, I haven't created any of this stuff. There's nothing I'm doing that hasn't been done before me. So I love sharing things. So if there's anything I can do to ever help anybody or to answer any questions or anything like that, just always reach out to me. I just love helping other people out and serving other people.
Awesome. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Like I said, I don't know what the future of this show channel is going to be, but I'll get back to you in September. All right, we're going to log off here, and I will drop that link in here about 5 seconds after I hit the end button. Later, guys.
Peace.